I now understand why YouTubers keep changing their shirts. Is when you make a video, and you have like a bunch of them in storage on your phone or what have you. It's a much easier to find the latest one if you're wearing something completely different in the picture. Anyway. So this video is about the wedding and the first wedding that I went to after I became a Christian. So a friend of mine from college invited me to his wedding. And I hadn't seen him for like 5 years, but he was a good friend in college, or from time to time we kind of hung out here and there, and then at different times when we were not hanging out with other groups. It was a long story, but he was a good guy, and he wanted me to be in the wedding, or at least come to see his wife and to meet her and have a good time. And so I went. I decided to go with a mutual friend. Her name was Crystal, a wonderful Catholic girl that I knew from college. I probably should have married. One of those many that I probably should have dated and married back then, but my standards were unbelievably too high for someone who was as short in stature as I was at the time. Anyway, Crystal was great. She's great. She's still a good friend. And I got to the church, and I remember waiting outside because God had given me a sign to wait outside. Crystal hadn't shown up yet, so the church, the music is starting and everything like that, and I'm standing out in the parking lot because God told me to stop and wait, and then Crystal comes driving up, screeching, really fast, in the parking lot, and jumps out, and I, grabbed her arm. We went inside. I was so happy that God had actually told me to wait there, so that I could go in with her and show her how to get into the building, because it was a little weird. So anyway, the wedding went very well. The service went very well, and there was the period in between the wedding at the church and the reception. During that time, they obviously went out and took a bunch of pictures, like they always do, with the bride and groom. But then they went into kind of like I think the reception was at his father and mother-in-law's house. I think that's what it was. It was a big house. It was a beautiful property, and that's where they did the reception. And there was this big living room, and for some reason he had called me in after they did the pictures to this big living room where he and both sides of the family were, and they're all dressed up and they're all standing around, and he had me sit down in a place that was like right between, right in front of everyone, next, in front of him and his bride, and I was sitting there with Crystal, and he said, "Mike, I want to hear your testimony. Tell everybody here." He wanted me to tell the whole family. This guy was not necessarily a Christian at all, but he knew me before I was saved. He knew how analytical and intellectual I was, and how sharp I was, and he knew how depressed I was. He was always one of these many friends I had that were always cheering me up, because they knew I did good things for people, and I was working really hard for everything I had, but I never gave up. For those watching who don't like that, sorry, that's your answer. But anyway, so even when I was an atheist, I never gave up. Praise God. Anyway, so I gave my testimony to this entire room filled with these people, and dressed to the nines, and they all stood there and just listened. And it's amazing to me how many times the Lord has done that in my life since I became a Christian. But when you pray ahead, when you pray for opportunities to minister to people, if you get in the Spirit and you do that, He will make those opportunities. He will fill a room with people. He's done it with me at jobs. He's done it with me in massive meetings with former world leader in South Korea, and he's done it with me in Japan. with a translator. He has done this with me many, many times in different places, and it's always awesome every time. It's God guiding me to the right place at the right time to talk to the right people that are meant to hear my testimonies, and everything will always get quiet at the right moment, and I can talk. And they really appreciate it. They were very, very graceful to me. They didn't care that I was talking a little long and it was going into the reception period. They wanted to hear it. I think he had told them ahead of time about this guy that he knew who had a big experience with Jesus, and he wanted them to be there, all of them there. And I realized after a while that was the reason why he invited me. That was the reason why he invited me. He had prepared. It was like he set up the whole thing because he wanted me to tell everybody at that moment, at the beginning of his marriage. He wanted to come out of the horse's mouth. He wanted me to share it with them. He didn't want to repeat the story. He wanted the guy there. Okay. That was very humbling. That was very humbling. I don't know if I would give somebody a time to do that at my wedding. Not that I've ever been married, but you know, it's, I look back on it and I see it as one of these great moments, one of many great moments that God was able to use me to witness to a large group of people that were good people. These were good people. That every one of them was very, very kind to me and had a very great type of disposition, and we had a great time. It was a good wedding and a good reception. Anyway, so that's it with that one. I'm going to start doing these in quick succession. I'm going to start doing a lot of videos now because God is telling me he doesn't want a trickle. He wants a flood. So I'm going to do the flood. And that's what we're going to do now. And I'm going to be wearing a different shirt every time. So The Angry Prophet, Melchizedek, Book 2, available on Amazon under my name, Michael Cordima. Check it out. God bless. Bye.